So I have a bunch of questions. And I did a little bit of research beforehand.
Okay.
So I read that you guys started as a band at Indiana, right?
Indiana University. And where are you right now?
I'm at Brandeis, which is in Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nice. We played in Boston, I guess last fall at a place called like the Lily Pad. It's just like a DIY place. Small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
We were supposed to play this other place called the Middle East, but then like the guy got canceled and we bailed.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine like all the events you guys were supposed to have that got like canceled.
Oh, actually canceled. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
some we didn't have too much stuff going on. Like when the whole COVID thing hit, we were all kind of bummed because we didn't really figure out our summer tour and plans and whatever. And so when it hit, we were like, oh no, I guess we can't do those shows we didn't book. And then
Yeah.
all these other people were like these epic tours, and we were just kind of like,
That's kind of lucky then. Yeah.
yeah, it could have been a lot worse, but I mean, we've had one European tour canceled or postponed, and now it's going into September, and now our booking agent isn't sure it's going to work in September either. So it's sort of
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's already saying festivals want to announce, and he's not sure if we should announce if it's a bad look, saying we're ready to rock. So I don't know.
And then it not happening.
Just do
Yeah.
the smarter business people tell me to do normally and just keep recording my music.
What's it called? I'm not like I kind of organize my questions, but I guess since we're on the topic already, I'll go backwards. So
Okay.
one of my questions is, have songs like come together more in quarantine, and have you been more creative, or has it been like harder for you to make stuff?
Oh no, it's been great. It's been totally like the most creative period of my life, maybe. I don't think I've ever played more guitar than I've played in the last year, especially like acoustic guitar. And I've been learning sarod, this like Indian Pakistani instrument. It's like a sitar guitar thing. It's fun. And I don't know. I got a synthesizer with the first stimulus check. It's like, cool, let's do some Stevie Wonder stuff. Thanks, Trump, like on the stupid
Yes.
stupid check thing. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. This asshole bought me a synthesizer. It was cool, I don't know. But yeah, I got a new acoustic then too, because my acoustic I'd had forever, and I'd always had kind of janky ones, like real old beater ones, but now I got a nice old one, a Harmony, which I really love. So we recorded. The first thing that happened with the quarantine, we had already planned on recording a record. Well, we had planned to go to South by. South by got canceled. We were like, screw it. We already took the time off work. Let's go get an Airbnb in Joshua Tree in the desert and record an album. Because I had been messing around doing that with other bands, bringing the tape machine, bringing like little speakers, all of the gear. And we went out there with a ton of instruments. I borrowed a minivan from my friend, and we threw everything in there. And we showed up, and like, as the news is like, everything is shutting down, like, it was wild. We were all like, I don't know. I was excited. I didn't know if it was like the apocalypse. And I was like, I had this like weird, like crazy drive. We got to record this, man. This might be the last record ever or something.
Like the world is ending.
Yeah. And then we did all the instruments out there, and I brought the recordings back to my apartment in Hollywood, and I was doing the vocals in like 4 days for like 12 songs or something, because I was like, well, 50% chance of getting COVID. I live with my buddy Julian. One of us is going to get it. I won't be able to sing ever again, so better record these.
God.
It was wild. And he's just, Julian Levitates room, my buddy, we're living together, and he's just looking at me in the living room like, you're nuts, dude. Like, and
like to record in Joshua Tree.
Oh, I love it. It's really calm. And, people say like, the vibe or, the air or something. It's kind of true though. I mean, there's lots of weird stuff in Joshua Tree. There's plenty of like methed out, crazy desert, like Mad Max people. And it's true. Like I thought about moving there, and I was like, maybe I'll not do that. But it's a beautiful place. And I love going out there and just like, you just step outside and it's just like wind, just silence and like, a cactus swaying in the breeze, and it's beautiful. So we'd be like making this loud music and be like, it's nice out here, kind of that vibe. But then after that, I got the synthesizer, And we made another record at my place here in Crestline, California, which is in the mountains. I moved up here because our apartment got sold, and I was like, I'm not going to pay a ton of money to live in LA when nothing's happening. So I pay the same amount of rent for like a house in the mountains, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But I have a studio, and we got the guys up here. We did more of like a synthy, spacey Stevie Wonder meets like, I don't know, like proggy album with lots of piano. And then recently we did an album where it's just acoustic guitar, like I don't know, Big Star or America or James Taylor, because I've just been playing a ton of acoustic guitar since I moved here. So we've had all these, like, we've gone through like 3 phases already since the Corona thing. So it's been good, no complaints, and the guys are totally down to record all the time. And once we got over the initial, like, we didn't want to hang with each other for a second because no one knew what to do, you know, like to stay inside, like don't go anywhere, blah, blah. I remember Brendan came over to do like percussion after the first album with like a full like hazmat suit on. He had like the gloves and the mask, and like he looked like he was walking on the moon. And he was like, cool, where's the tambourine? I was like, whoa.
That's so funny.
Anyway, so I'm trying to condense a lot of information here into like one
yeah
thing.
No, but what's it called, so you guys were originally in Indiana and then you moved to LA?
Yeah, I met the original guitar player Josh. We were both going to university in Indiana at Indiana University, and Dylan, who was playing bass with us, who's Frankie and the Witch Fingers guy. So we were kind of, like that band was kind of the same band as this band. Josh is from San Diego. He was like, why don't you guys move to California? Once I finished school, you don't really hang out in Bloomington after you finish school. And it gets a little weird, you know, you're suddenly like the oldest person when you're only like 24, and you're like, it's good to go to a bigger city where you're young again.
What was it like playing in college? Like, did people at Indiana like the stuff that you guys made?
I think so. Yeah, we just played like a lot of like sweaty basement shows where, like, you know, like people, like students had like their own little bars and stuff, and it was just like people with like 40 ounces and like King Cobras and Mickeys and, like, you know, cigarette smoke everywhere. I mean, kind of like the German clubs we play sometimes, but without the 40 ounces. But it was fun. We rocked a little harder. It was more like punk garage rock stuff. I was into that kind of stuff more, and then it got more like Beatles, Beach Boys stuff. It got a little harder to play live, all those arrangements, but we still like got it done. And I think we had, like, you know, people in the local community like to come out and see us, but you know, we definitely probably played shows to like 10 people a couple times. And I don't know, it's an interesting thing because there's a lot of bands, and a lot of people in the music scene back then were also in bands, and there's, like, you know, general rivalries and stuff, but we all supported each other. I thought it was a good vibe. And I'm not sure what the Bloomington scene's like now, because I think it's kind of getting built up, you know, people are moving into like new apartments, and I'm not sure if these like beat up old houses are going to survive much longer. And you could rent them as students for nothing and have parties and shows, and that was pretty awesome, you know. So it wasn't like that when I moved to LA. It's not like everyone had a house. Everyone's just like in tiny apartments and stuff. Right. Not New York tiny, but it wasn't like everyone come over, I'm having like a party with tons of beer.
What's it called, had you played before coming to college, like in a band?
I had a band in high school that was just like a cover band basically, and we played like Allman Brothers and Grateful Dead and Fish and all these like kind of jam bandy stuff.
Already like psyche stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, different side of the psych coin. I was from the South, and it was just like ubiquitous jam band stuff that like all the dudes older than me, you know, they all were obsessed with jam bands. And I think I liked more of the stuff that the jam bands liked than the jam bands themselves. Like I like the Grateful Dead, who they kind of all copied at the end of the day. And I still love the Grateful Dead, but I don't really listen to like jam band stuff. But I think I wrote like a couple originals in that band. We maybe played one, but then before I left Atlanta, I started a project with Stephen Burns, who's now our bass player in Triptides. And we actually did record an album of all original material that will probably never see the light of day because it's embarrassing early material vibes. And I was trying to sing like Death Cab for Cutie or something. And I don't know, different times. And me and Steven, yeah, that's how far we go back. I've known him forever, and it's funny, he's in LA and he's in the band now, which is awesome.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
it called? Has moving to like a more remote environment like changed the way that you make music, like as opposed to being in the city?
Yeah, I mean, the city, it's like I lived with a roommate, and if you're in the living room, you're hanging out, and that's cool. And I love hanging out with my friends, obviously. Whatever you want to watch a movie, you want to hang, what do you want to do, what are you doing tonight? And especially because we could do stuff in those times. And then I'd go into my room before bed and I'd play acoustic guitar in my bed and maybe come up with something, or I had a little organ next to my bed and I'd play and have the drum machine. But now living in a house like by myself, it's interesting because I can like just be sitting around and be like, I'm just going to play something right here. I have like the studio where I can go play piano as loud as I want and sing. And that's given a definite different vibe to like the accessibility of picking something up and writing and not worrying about like, oh, I'm not hanging with my bud. He's just like, you don't want to be antisocial with your roommate, especially if you're friends with them. But now I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of do whatever all the time. So a lot of that's just playing music.
Yeah. What's it called? So do you like primarily write most of the music and lyrics, or is it like a collaborative
I
process?
write a lot of the music and all the lyrics pretty much. Steven wrote some lyrics on one of our newer records, and he's given some music stuff too now. Brendan is, sometimes I'll demo stuff out on the drums and give it to Brendan, but Brendan always kind of does his own style on the drums for the most part. So he's writing all the drum stuff. So I'll basically write like the chords and lyrics, and then I'll let the other guys do their thing. Like I've never been more ready to trust these guys. It's like sending your kids to a school. It's like, I trust these guys, take care of my kids, or raise them properly into real songs. And
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I'll be more particular if I really like a demo, because I have been demoing more stuff by myself where I play everything and like have a whole song by the end of the day. But for the most part, I don't want to be like, I used to be more control freaky with that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, that's not the point of being in a band. I could just like live in a vacuum if I wanted to be like that. So I guess being more mature with the idea of like the group ideas and the group vibe.
Definitely.
It's
Um,
hard. I'm pretty, it took a while. I get nervous. I don't know.
yeah, especially if you have like a whole idea in your head, you don't want it to slip away before everyone else is ready. But yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it's
And
about waiting for people.
yeah, but then it eventually just turns into like Tame Impala started cool, where the guys like doing everything and like making sick rock, and then it just turns into like, I guess if you're by yourself, it'll just make like top 40 music.
True. Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, I'm not it's not bad. It's better than a lot of stuff, but I definitely prefer it more when it feels like a band in a room, like Led Zeppelin in a room or something, rather than just like one guy like overdubbing a bunch of stuff, next thing, because it can feel
Yeah.
a little sterile, unless it's like Emmett Rhodes, or I don't know. There's some guys in the past that just nailed it, where it's like super organic and super cool, and I don't know.
Yeah. I was just listening to Stairway to Heaven, so it's like stuck in my head now. But
Oh, really?
yeah, like just now.
That's funny. It's
Yeah.
classic. That was like the first time you learned
What's
on
it called?
guitar.
Yeah, such a good song.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna ask you guys? Um, oh yeah. I guess I was gonna ask like what is the psych scene like in the US compared to like when you guys went abroad to Europe? Like I guess what were other artists doing and what was the response to it versus here?
I think European stuff, it has its own vibe. They're just like such old countries. They have like these strong vibes, but I think they do look to England and they look to America for like some stylistic things. Like what's psychedelic? Well, what's happening in New York? What's happening in California? And we definitely play with some bands that are like dressing like 60s California style over in like Switzerland and stuff, and playing like the Brian Jonestown Massacre or something, and that's cool. But I think no matter what, they're putting their spirit into it, and it's cool. And that's, I mean, that's not super. Well, there's people in the Netherlands too that are like super 60s out, but but the Netherlands also had like a strong like 60s psychedelic thing, like Dutch beat scene, and England's always had its own thing. So like that doesn't really even compare to America. Like I mean, there's some translation. Like we play with a band, friends of ours called the Creatures, and they're Clapton cowboys. Like Clapton's like a borough of London or whatever, and they try to do this almost like Americana thing, you know, like cowboy, like I don't know, kind of surfy California, but they're in like London. So, but then again, sometimes I kind of sing in like a British accent or whatever. So it's this funny. We're continuing this weird, like the Stones sound more American than like whatever, like Velvet Underground or something, you know. So
Yeah, I thought Velvet Underground was British for a while, but
yeah, my dad thought the Birds were British. I don't know, but
yeah.
my grandma was English. She was my mom was the first in her family to be born in America. So my grandma would sing, you know, little songs to me when I was a kid before bed, and Danny Boy and whatever. You know, stuff like that, little Irish folk stuff. And she had a super strong English accent. So I feel less like illegitimate when I like affect a certain accent like that, because it's like, it's still part of my heritage. I mean, most white people it is, so it's not unique. I'm just, I'm just like, oh yeah, another British guy.
Yeah.
Cool. So everybody else, I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
cool.
No, that's funny. What's it called? I was gonna ask, what's like a really weird thing that happened while you were on tour? Like a really crazy story that happened.
Hmm. Hmm. Let me think about that for a second. I can't. I mean, if we're recording this, I got to be careful here. No. Oh, you know, it wasn't that weird, but it was pretty crazy. It was we played a show in Brighton on one of our last European tours, and we hung out with my good friend Charlie. He plays drums in a band called Toy, which is kind of cool krautrock, indie rock shoegazy band. Regardless, we were hanging out with him in Brighton, and we had to be in northern Spain for a show like the next night at like 5 o'clock for load in, and we probably didn't go to sleep in Brighton until like 3 or 4 in the morning. Woke up like I think it was one of those things where you close your eyes and open them and you're like, okay, time to go. And we packed all our stuff. We had to take everything that was in the van that we had been touring with Italian tour manager Tony Scafidi, and we had to put all of that stuff into all of our luggage. So we're shoving the merch, shoving CDs, records, giving stuff to Charlie. Hey man, just take some t-shirts. I don't know what to do with this. It's so early. We're so tired. And then somehow we got to the airport in London Gatwick, got on a plane, flew to Madrid, got off the plane, figured out how to rent a car in Spanish. I speak Spanish, but it was still hard. They didn't have the car. Why don't they have the car when they reserve it? I don't get that. I don't drive stick shift, so we had to like tell them like this is not going to work. And they tried to give us like a sports car. They tried to give us like a weird like Mercedes, and I was like, look, this car is obviously sick, but I cannot fit all these boys in
Yeah.
there. And our cars. And so finally we got the right car, and I drove like 4 hours on the Spanish highway to Leon. We did the sound check. We didn't even rest at all. I think we like freshened up in the hotel for a little bit, went back, and we're like deliriously tired. And we go and we played an art museum. We are like, oh, museum show. It'll be whatever. It'll be fine. It's part of this Purple Weekend festival. And we were kind of like the pre-party for the festival. And we get back to the art museum, and it's just like full of people. I don't know, like 200, 300, whatever the capacity of the place was. And they're surrounding the stage. And somehow we just killed it. It was like one of our best shows of the tour. Like we had to like borrow a different organ, like a different farfisa. They kind of like provided the backline, all this new gear. And we were like, we'll just do it. We'll just get it done. And we did it somehow. That was a crazy day. That was a crazy 24 hours, actually. I don't know if it's the most crazy, but it definitely comes to mind as like, if anyone wants to try and book us like an insanely tight, like 2 shows together, I just look at that. I'm like, well, we've done worse. You know? That was a lot of traveling. I mean, the flight from Gatwick to Madrid was probably not that long, like 2 or 3 hours, but just like going through security when you're like exhausted and the car thing. And yeah, we had to pull over a couple times driving just so I could get a giant coffee at like the cool Spanish roadside places where they sell like the giant like tortilla de patata, like giant omelet things. You're like, I love that. Give me coffee. Oh, and then this is a good sign. We're driving on the middle of nowhere. And there's a snake in the middle of the road. I swear to God, it's not made up. You can ask anyone in the band. And there's a snake in the highway. We're like, I guess that's a snake. Holy shit. And an eagle, I swear to God, or like a hawk or something just swoops down, grabs the snake and flies off. And we're all just like, that could either be a bad sign or a great sign. I don't know. But it's like the Mexican flag or something, you know, with the eagle eating the snake. And maybe it was a good sign because we crushed the show and had a great time. I don't know.
That's cool.
It was a wild, that's a wild day though. It was fun.
Yeah. What's it like traveling with all that equipment? Like
pain in the ass. Horrible. Hate that.
Yeah.
I hate going on planes with my guitars. I hate giving my guitars to random people to throw in the bottom of a plane. I lost my fake Rickenbacker 12 string. I say fake, but it's still a nice guitar. It's like I got it for like $400, but they go for like 800 to 1,000. That guitar, we checked it at LAX. It was supposed to meet us in Athens, Greece, the first stop on the tour. It ended up going to Denmark, to Copenhagen. I didn't have it for the festival. We couldn't play some of the songs. And then I'm calling Norwegian like, hey, do not send this to Athens. We're going to be in Amsterdam tomorrow. Do not send it to Athens. Please send it to the Amsterdam airport. We get to Amsterdam. I call them. They're like, hey, where's the guitar? It's in Athens. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? And I was like, finally, we got it back in Amsterdam on our way out of Amsterdam after being there, because luckily we were doing a recording session there for a couple days after our show. And the guitar, like the case has definitely been like thrown off of a plane and like thrown on the tarmac. I opened it up, the guitar, just like a couple tiny dings. And I was just like, oh my God, it still works. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
We try to avoid this because right before the pandemic, when we were about to go to South by, we played a show in Mexico City too. And my buddy, Brendan, our drummer, he was like, you know, I play in these Beatles cover bands where they have to bring multiple guitars, and they get this case where you can put 2 of them, and it's a soft case so you can carry it on. It's like the best idea. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to get that. We're going to go to South by. It's going to be so easy. Used it one time to go to Mexico City, but it was a lot easier. I did put my 12 string and my 6 string in it. So that'll be my future way of hopefully circumventing the lost guitar thing. But yeah, we don't dig it. I mean, Brendan will just travel with cymbals and snare abroad. We rent a drum set. We rent all the amps and stuff. I would never fly with amps.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's for like really, that's like might as well have your private jet at that
Exactly. Point. Yeah. Have a private plane at that point.
Yeah, like the Rolling Stones and with the tongue on it or something. But
yes.
Even they'll just fly in and they'll be like, we need like a Fender amp, you know. Like, okay, there you go, Keith. It's right there. You know, yep. You don't fly with a grand piano. You just show up and it's there. But,
exactly.
Anyway, so it's fine. We're getting better at it every year. I finally got like a real box for my pedal board instead of just shoving all the pedals in my suitcase and my underwear. I broke all my luggage. Like all my nice bags just got destroyed because I'd have like 10 pedals in them. Anyway, so sorry, that's a long answer to a short question, but there you go.
Yeah.
I got a lot of feelings about it. You know?
No, it sounds really annoying. Like, also, I feel like it's like something really important. It's not just like clothing and you need it. So if they lose it, it's like, well, now what are we going to do?
I know. It's terrible. Yeah. And they do. And they do. And they break it. And I don't know. It's weird. I think, some airlines have gotten better at it, but some don't care. I mean, post-corona stuff, I don't know what the hell's happening with any airlines. Norwegian, my favorite one that we always flew, is like, I think it's funded or subsidized by the Norwegian government, and it's just been like out of commission right now until things get better. So like flying to Europe's like twice as expensive all of a sudden, which sucks. But, yeah.
And Norwegian's also usually really cheap too.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, usually we can get all 3 tickets, we probably get 3 boys there and back for like under $2,000, which is pretty amazing, you know?
Yeah. Definitely.
We hope to make at least twice or 3 times that much in the tour. So it gets paid for and whatever. But you know, if we have to fly like American or Virgin, we'll end up, you know, maybe breaking even. Hey, who knows what the
At
shows
that
will
point,
offer us after this? We could be a hot commodity. I don't
yeah,
know. Who
I don't
knows?
know. What's it called? Is it like, so for your type of music specifically, is it harder to play it live, like with the synthesizer and everything?
Well, we haven't really got to that yet,
Oh,
but
true. You just bought it.
we were planning. It's funny because I don't even know what we're gonna play after this. We got so many songs we can play. We could do like a intermission, like 2 sets. But we were considering the idea of doing like the guitar rockin' stuff, like on the new record. A lot of that's guitar, 6 string, 12 string, and then like taking a break and coming back and me like playing the Wurlitzer electric piano with like the synthesizer on top and like the Farfisa like mini compact organ next to me, and like doing that and singing, like switching it up. Steven like, you know, playing bass but maybe using fuzz to do some like fuzz guitar stuff, or me doing that on the synth with like a fuzz pedal. We're all excited to try these wild new configurations, and you know, nothing's hard with these guys. They kill it. We're like, I mean, I have a lot of work to do, like switching around like what hand I'm playing on the keyboards for that stuff and guitar stuff, but it's not that hard, you know. It's not like we're playing like Yes or something, but
Right.
it's still pop music and the rock pop thing, but to simplify it.
Is rock music harder to play generally than like more poppy stuff?
I don't know. I've never tried to play pop. I imagine they both have their difficulties, and
Yeah.
I think that if you're used to the rock format, then maybe you'll excel in performing that over the pop format. So I
Yeah.
think it just depends on what your bread and butter is, or what your wheelhouse is, or enter sort of a metaphor, you know, ism there of saying stuff. But
Right. Yeah. Okay, what else? Oh, I read about, I don't know if this is the same story you mentioned with the Joshua Tree thing, but your song Nirvana Now, which I listened to and I liked.
oh,
Um, what?
right on.
Yeah, I really liked it. So I read some story about how like how it came about. Could you
It's
like
all,
elaborate a little bit on that?
that's all true. Yes.
Yeah, so like what exactly happened?
Well, we were hanging out. I was DJing in the backstage, hanging out with my girlfriend Nina, my buddy Stu, a couple other friends, and we were on a good wavelength at the time. I was on a good one. My girlfriend was overpowered by the wavelength, and she was saying that maybe she had reached the nirvana. I had Sanskrit coming down my face, a lot of interesting vibes there. And I just remember being like, I was DJing before Tame Impala in the backstage for like the artists. It wasn't like I was DJing like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
like huge arena. It was like this tiny tent or whatever. And I was just like throwing on like, you know, I don't know, like Rain by the Beatles, because it started raining a little bit and it's like boom, dun, dun, and I was like, this sounds sick. But then it was time for Tame Impala to start. My DJ shift was over. And I was like, and she was kind of freaking out a little bit, but not bad. And I was like, hey, let's go watch the best band in the world. You know, like they had just started like Let It Happen or something. And it sounded sick. And we just like ran up and it was like amazing. And me and Stu and her. And then they went into Sundown Syndrome, which is one of my favorites, or like Gotta Be Above It. They only played a couple songs. Then it started raining, and then Kevin Parker was like, hey, we gotta go, or whatever. That's British accent. I don't know, whatever. He said something in Australian talk. And they left. He's like, we gotta go, but you guys don't have to, but we gotta go. And then they just like ran off stage. And like it was so funny, like all these people who had like, you know, timed their trips basically.
Yeah.
What? No, you know,
Yeah.
like all fucking just torn up about it. And we were just kind of like, whatever, you want to go to my car and listen to Tame Impala? And my car, luckily, was right next to the artist village because I got there early to set up the DJ stuff. Everyone else had to walk like a mile to the general admission parking. And I was like, guys, my car is like right over there. And we got in the car and it started pouring rain, and we put on inner speaker, you know, whatever. And it was just like good vibes. But Yeah, that's basically what the song was about. I mean, I was Tame Impala, the first album, two albums. First album is probably why Triptides exists in the first place, you know,
Really?
not to boost that guy's ego or anything. He did a good job though. And I did think it was funny that you know, the whole thing got canceled. They were the headliner, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? Like, we want to see them. We paid. Why can't they play tomorrow?" And like, obviously, no one understands how touring works, and you got to go from one to the other and keep
Yeah,
moving. You can't just be like, "Actually, we'll stay here and do this again." You know,
for
it's
you
like.
guys.
I just remember reading the comments on the Poor Desert Days Instagram, like, "Look, you guys own a refund." It's like, what? They so they're God, you
Yeah,
know? What
no.
the hell? I mean, it rarely rains there. It was like such a low chance of rain. It was ridiculous. It was bizarre. You know?
Have you guys ever had like a weird interaction with a fan or like anything bad like that?
Oh, weird. Or like rain stuff, or what do
Yeah,
you?
like something like happening on tour that like messed you up.
Hmm. I don't know. We were in Mexico City and Steven ate some fruit for breakfast and wasn't feeling too hot before we played. He got some
Oh,
sort of mild Montezuma's revenge, but you know, we pushed through and he he actually, like, a Mexican kid came up and was like, "You guys want to smoke a little bit?" And Steven just went like, "Feel a lot better," you know. So funny. We're just like, I know we had like
okay.
a bucket next to his part of the stage and everything, like, and we got through it fine. Like, I swear to God, it was like a miracle. It was incredible. Like,
Yeah,
I had played in Mexico City with Levitation Room playing piano and organ, and I knew the drill. Like, nothing that's been washed with water, no lettuce, no fruit, no meat from taco stands, nothing like that. You know, because I actually got a disease when I was in
oh my
Mexico.
God.
I don't know, it's called Shigella, basically. Yeah, bad stuff for like a week and a half. And like the CDC called me and like interviewed me and asked me questions for like an hour on the phone. Like, who else were you with? How old were they? Anyone over 55? Like, anyone under 18? What's your profession? What's their profession? And this was before coronavirus.
Right.
So it almost makes sense, like, why I didn't realize why they were grueling so hard, grilling, and then it made sense, like, okay, maybe there's like a heightened weirdness with like imported viruses or diseases. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, guys, we're not eating any weird food. Like, all the Mexican hosts we hung out with, I was like, nicest restaurant you got, you know? And it was still like, we got the best food ever, the best drinks, margaritas, tons of Dos Equis's, handmade tortillas, handmade ceviche. And they're like, okay, so the bill is $14 each, you know? Like,
Yeah.
great, love Mexico,
That's
please
awesome.
back. You know, we had a wonderful time, but that was funny. Steven almost was incapacitated for our show. We were like one of the headliners of this little festival down there, so that could have been bad. But he
Yeah.
rapped, as we say in the biz.
Wow. That's
He
so
rapped pretty
interesting.
hard.
Yeah, like looking back on it, that the CDC like was concerned about it, and now it's like, okay,
Yeah,
makes sense.
concerned about me because I had been there in November with Levitation and we were there in March with Triptides. So I had learned my lesson from the November thing. But because I had gone to the hospital and they had like diagnosed me, I thought the hospital was calling to check up on me, but it was like literally the Center for Disease Control being like, "What the fuck you got inside of
What
you?"
are you eating?
And it's like, it's not my fault, man. I wanted to try the taco stands. I don't know. I thought I was Anthony Bourdain. I wanted to have fun. Don't judge me.
Oh my God.
It make me feel more for Anthony Bourdain. I was like, man, that guy probably had some horrible, horrible
Yeah.
times. Jesus. I don't know. TMI, but anyway, whatever.
What else? Oh, I was gonna ask you if you guys have, or like, I don't know if you could speak to artists in general, but if you guys have like a favorite song or like a favorite album, or is it more like you can't have a favorite because they're like all your kids?
Oh, it's more like I have like the base favorites that I always love, and then I have like new favorites all the time, you know. So it's tough, you know, like I'll always like certain songs. I don't know. The talking interviews are tough because I can't really think about it enough. And I don't want to just say something and look bad and be like, that wasn't my favorite, you know, like I don't know.
No
There's certain
pressure.
albums, you know, that I'll always go back to. Like, you know, there's like the Beatles, like Rain or Paperback Writer, like that single is like probably some of the best songs ever. But then like I was like talking with my buddy yesterday and I was talking about this random single by a band called Giant Jelly Bean Cop Out, and they had this song Look at the Girls, this like late 60s bossa nova Beach Boys rip off psych song, and I was like, that might be one of my favorite songs of all time. And I legitimately thought about it, but I hadn't thought of it for a long time. It's just because I was mixing one of his band's songs and it sounded like that, had similar harmonies or something. And so it's weird because I don't know, there's stuff that I'll always like I mean I'll always like Debussy, like the Prelude, you know, piano stuff, classical stuff, as much as I'll like, I don't know. I'm just like looking at my records right now. What's in there? Huh. You know? I don't know. I like America Ventura Highway.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's
Wait, you said you were like into punk stuff in high school, right? In like the beginning
punk
of
is
school?
not probably not the right word. More like garage rock, like more, you know, it would sound punkier to the you know, person on the street. But there was
Right.
a band in Atlanta called, or Athens, but they were from Atlanta where I'm from, and it was called the Wigs, and it was like 3-piece garage rock, like heavy drums, kind of like overdriven guitar, not like fuzzed out or like, you know, distorted, but just like cranked up guitars and
Yeah.
bass. And they liked bands like the Replacements and Big Star,
Yeah.
probably. I like all that stuff too. So it's just like it's vibes translated into other vibes translated into me, or you know, something. And
Yeah.
but I saw those guys. I remember I was with my brother at a fraternity party because he was in the Greek community in Athens, Georgia, as many people are.
Yeah,
You
UGA.
Yeah, and I remember those guys coming up. They were playing this. It was like, I don't know, Theta Chi or some crap. I don't really know. And they walked in like everyone's wearing like khaki shorts and like polo shirts, like drinking out of red Solo cups. And these guys walk in with like these like weird vintage like bright orange shirts or like purple and skinny jeans and like weird sunglasses. And I was like, I kind of want to, I'd rather be in that camp than the other one. And I think
Yeah.
that was a big moment for me. And this guy Patterson Hood played. He has this band Drive By Truckers, and he's like the singer. And I don't know, it was cool. But it's funny because the fratty scene in the South likes to rock. Like I would still play a frat party if they paid us enough money, because they come to have a good time, and that's kind of awesome. Better than like super hipster people. Like it's pretty good. You know, these
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, man, that's fucking awesome. You guys fresh. Man, can I get a picture with you? You want to do a shot? It's like, okay. Like I'd almost like going back to play with like jam bands, because I think jam bands, regardless of whether they're Southern or not, like the audience is like super into it, you know. I don't know, it's because of drugs or whatever, but, you know, these people are coming to have a good time and they want to experience something. And playing for the overly hip LA people can be a little soul crushing sometimes, and that's not always the case. There's plenty of wonderful people in LA, and I love LA, and I'll always consider it my new home. And but you know, there is a certain level of people looking down their nose at you, and it's like that in a lot of major cities. I'm sure it's like that in New York. London can be tough, you know. Paris, it can be tough. Luckily, French people really like Triptides. I don't know what that's all about. We never had a problem.
Awesome, because French people are like hard to please, I feel like.
You know, they just have a quality of art that they want to maintain, and I totally respect and understand that. And I love French art and French cinema, and I think it's some of the best cultural offerings in the world. But you know, I'm still looking around in different countries all the time and trying to find new stuff. You know, I'm listening to Indian music, I'm listening to Turkish music, I'm listening to, I don't know, South America. I love Brazilian music, is probably one of my favorite genres, all the bossa nova, tropical.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I'd love to play in Rio de Janeiro. I don't know what the vibe is there, but you know, it's just nice when people are coming with the anticipation to have a good time rather than the anticipation to decide whether or not something's cool enough for them.
Hmm.
That, the main thing there, you know. That's
Yeah. No, I feel like it's definitely nicer to play when like people are just trying to appreciate like the vibe and the music and not like, oh, I'm going to see this band. Like it's just like listen to it and enjoy it. Yeah.
I've been on both camps. Don't worry. I mean, I can be judgmental and lame about stuff too. I'll be like, oh, he's playing that guitar, you know, like, and
Yeah.
I try not to. I try to approach it like a kid going to a concert for the first time and just enjoying it. But I'm just like, I have things in me from making music and going to so many shows and playing so many shows that it's tough. I mean, sometimes I don't even want to go to shows. I mean, this was before shows were taken away from everybody, and now everyone really appreciates them. But I remember coming back from tour, like, I don't want to see a show for a while, man. I've been in a bar playing music for the last 20 to 30 days. Like, I'm going to show up at the bar, like, wondering when I'm going to get paid. And they're like, you didn't even play tonight. I'm like, I'm broken. I don't know what's happening. It's, you know, like, where's the promoter? It's like, you don't have to worry about that. You're just having fun. Oh, yeah. You know, like, it kind of like reprograms you. And so I understand where that can happen with other musicians, but you know, it's just something to be conscious of so you can enjoy and support musicians and support your friends and the people that are trying to make valid art and genuine expressions.
Yeah. Me and my friend have a radio show, so we'd be happy to play some of your stuff if you want on air.
I'll send you a Dropbox of the whole record. You can play whatever you want.
That would be sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting also just with like college radio and stuff because there's not that many people listening. So
I remember WIUX in Bloomington. That was like the station though, and pretty much everyone in town, like you got in someone's old Corolla or something. It's like, hey, you're gonna listen to classical, you're gonna listen to like the NPR local station, you're gonna listen to WIUX, and 9 times out of 10 it was WIUX, regardless of who was DJing or if it was like ambient or like punk rock or indie rock. You know, it was cool. And I mean, we talk about that a lot. You know, some friends of mine, like, man, I'll hear someone's song and I'll be like, could be a college radio hit, because there's some things that like hit right in the right way when you're off at school, you know, you're away from your parents for the first time or whatever, and you hear a song and that can just really define that moment in your life. And even if the song is just totally fine, it's not the best song ever, but you'll look back on that song and be like, yeah, I fucking remember that brings me back, and there's like a nostalgia associated with it. And I think that's what like real college rock radio can do, and that's pretty special.
I really feel that. I was reading about like the Goo Goo Dolls the other day, and like
classic.
Exactly, like all of their stuff basically got promoted on college radio stations, and like critics were like, it's not that good, but like college guys are like, no, it's awesome.
That's funny. Yeah. I believe that. I used to like that in high school.
Yeah, I really like them. Maybe it's just the age, I don't know.
Classic. Yeah. I thought they were from, for some reason I thought they were from Georgia, but I don't think they are.
I think they're from like Buffalo, New York.
Way more sense.
Yeah.
Someone said that when I was a kid, like, yeah, they're from here. I was like, really?
Yeah. But no, I agree that there's like in college there's specific stuff that's like, it's not that good of music, but it's like, no, there's definitely like a feeling associated with it. Yeah, that makes you want to listen to it more.
Definitely. I think college radio is doing some pretty important stuff. So that's cool. You guys do that.
Yeah. What else was I gonna ask you? So I guess like what are your guys' plans from here on out, like in terms of touring and stuff?
Well, in terms of touring, it's really up to, I don't know, the higher ups here. I mean, of course we're ready to play a show. We keep practicing, and it's not like we've missed anything, but it's just a matter of doing it in a way that's cool, and we don't want to make anyone feel like we're not considerate, you know. So we'll wait until it seems like you know, we don't want to be canceled for playing a show here. You know, basically
really not good for the image.
They don't care about anything. They're so horrible. I'm just like, come on. I don't even know what to say. I'm just trying to do the right thing here. Of course we want to play. It's in our DNA to get on stage and make music, and we love it. I mean, we love recording, but the live show is also a lot of fun. It's just the other side of the coin. Sometimes you got to turn the coin over. You got to see what's over there. Anyway, so we'll see about that. In the meantime, we're hoping to continue releasing records regardless. This Alive release is going well so far with Alter Echoes, so maybe they'll be interested in doing the next album, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I just keep playing and writing and trying to, live my best life, as the kids say, and that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to me. This is a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, I apologize for the rambling. It was really nice talking to you too.
That's great. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
After a giant cup of coffee here. So
all right. And I'll let you know what happens with our DJ, and I can definitely feature some of your stuff.
Cool. I'll send you that.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I think I have your email. You just emailed me.
Yeah.
Today, right? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Awesome.
Ariella?
Yeah.
Ariella. Nice to meet you, and have a nice weekend.
You too. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.